Hello, my name is John Purdue and this presentation is on M-PESA, a disruptive innovation which has made Kenya, a developing country, a world leader in mobile finance. M-PESA was the brainchild of Nick Hughes OBE, who at the time was head of global payments at Vodafone Group. In 2003, at the World Summit for Sustainable Development, Mr. Hughes was able to obtain a £1 million investment from the United Kingdom's Department for International Development, provided that Vodafone would match it, which they did. The original goal of the M-PESA project was to provide financial services to those in Kenya with no access to formal banking. This was one of the premier issues in Kenya at the time. After the pilot program was rolled out in 2007, it became apparent that the scope of M-PESA was far wider than anyone involved in the project had previously anticipated. After interviewing members of the pilot program, it was discovered that there were numerous uses for M-PESA that the designers had not foreseen. One example is a woman sending her husband money after he had fallen victim to a robbery. He was then able to purchase a bus ticket home because of M-PESA. Several users said they had deposited money on M-PESA before travelling across rural Kenya. This helped them avoid the problem of highwaymen, which is extremely commonplace in Kenya even now. Many users also used M-PESA to send money to their family members in their home villages. Due to its multiple uses, M-PESA has experienced exponential growth since its introduction. This can be seen in the graph shown here. Within a year, M-PESA had reached 2 million users. By 2013, the numbers of users had reached 15 million. There were various reasons for the rapid success of M-PESA. Mobile phones were already very common in urban Kenya. In 2008, 39% of the population owned a mobile device, and by 2013, 67% did. There was also a huge lack of financial services in Kenya. Only about 19% of the population had access to formal banking in 2007. This meant there was a huge gap in the market for a service such as M-PESA. Remittances are also very important in Kenyan culture, something we can relate to here in Ireland. It is estimated that 30% of rural households in Kenya rely on remittances for survival. M-PESA has made sending money home much easier and more secure. Prior to M-PESA, a common practice was simply entrusting envelopes of cash to bus drivers. In a country where corruption is a serious issue, this entails obvious risks. As M-PESA created an entirely new market in Kenya, there was no competition in the beginning. Due to soft government regulations with regards to telecommunications and a high volume of M-PESA cash-out stations, M-PESA's dominance of the market has continued. M-PESA, however, has not grown without facing a number of challenges. M-PESA eliminates people's ability to avoid taxes, as they cannot falsify their income when there is a clear trail. In Kenya, tax avoidance is so regular it is almost expected. This is largely due to inefficiencies in the taxation system. Opposition for M-PESA has also come from a surprising source: local officials. M-PESA only holds a competitive advantage in developing countries where banking services are not widely accessible. In most developing countries, corruption is very common in high-ranking officials. M-PESA makes the misappropriation of government funds much more difficult. An example of this is when M-PESA was brought in as a pilot scheme in Afghanistan for the police force. The police thought that there had been a serious error, as they seemed to have been drastically overpaid. In actuality, they had been losing 30% of their wage to corruption and were receiving their real wage for the first time in their careers. Naturally, their superiors were unhappy with the new system and attempted to return to the old way in which they could profit at their subordinates' expense. M-PESA's marketing strategies centre around their association with Safaricom and the importance of sending money home. Safaricom was founded in 1997 and Vodafone purchased a 40% share in the company in 2000. Safaricom currently holds a 63.5% share of the telecommunications market in Kenya. M-PESA's close association with Safaricom allowed the general public to quickly build a foundation of trust with the brand. This was crucial as many in Kenya are slow to entrust their money to a company due to how rampant corruption is in the country. Even with this close tie to Safaricom, if there is any mishap with the transaction, most Kenyans' initial reaction is that they must have been taken advantage of by an M-PESA agent. M-PESA outlets are routinely painted Safaricom green, which also makes them very easy to identify. An example of this is shown here. M-PESA is very in touch with their customer base, and its marketing promotes the same ideas and values their customers have. An example of this is the philosophy of Ubuntu. Ubuntu is subscribed to not only in Kenya, but in many other African countries. Ubuntu espouses that people should care for one another as if they were all part of a greater whole. However, family does still take precedence. M-PESA cleverly incorporates principles such as Ubuntu in their advertising. This image is an example of an M-PESA advert depicting a businessman sending pesa home to his family in a rural village, ensuring his loved ones need not go without. Without M-PESA, this kind of transaction simply wouldn't be feasible. The ease with which remittances can be sent to family members in rural areas is a key selling point for M-PESA. M-PESA now operates in 10 countries across Africa, Asia and Europe. M-PESA has also used its success to give back to its customers through the M-PESA Foundation. The M-PESA Foundation invests in large-scale projects which benefit Kenya economically and socially, such as the M-PESA Foundation Academy, which is pictured here. M-PESA has become not only a convenient e-commerce tool, but a staple in the life of so many communities. Its explosive growth, innovative design and groundbreaking influence all indicate the company has a big and bright future ahead of it. Thank you for your time.